Hello everybody, this is Pastor Green. We're doing another Bible study, 1 Samuel chapter 26. If you'd like me to come speak at your church or if you have any questions, you can send me an email. You can also comment below. 1 Samuel 26 verse 1. And the Ziphites came unto Saul and Gibesh, saying, Does not David hide himself in the hill of Haklah, which is before Jezmon? Now you have to remember that at this point Saul kind of gave up searching for David. So these people are kind of like probing Saul to go after David again. So these people came to Saul and they said, "Hey, isn't David over here? Don't you dislike the guy? You should go get him." And this right here will show you the map. Here's Ziph right here, and it's kind of hard to see on this map, but we're gonna get a little closer. You still really can't see it right there either, can you? So this is about where it's at here. It's right there next to the Dead Sea. You can see an overview from it right here. And David, remember in 1 Samuel 23, it says, And David abode in the wilderness and strongholds, and remained in the mountains of the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul sought him every day, but God delivered him not into his hands. And David saw that Saul was come out to seek his life, and David was in the wilderness of Ziph in the woods. And he came to the Ziphites to Saul, to Gibesh, saying, Does not David hide himself in the strongholds in the wood, in the hill of Hilkiah, which is in the south of Jezmon? So back to 1 Samuel 26. And Saul arose and went down to the wilderness of Ziph, having 3,000 chosen men of Israel with him to seek David in the wilderness of Ziph. And Saul pitched a tent in the hills of Hilkiah, which was before Jezmon, by the way. But David abode in the wilderness, and he saw that Saul came after him in the wilderness. David therefore sent out spies, and understood that Saul was coming in very deed. And David arose and came to the place where Saul had pitched. And David beheld this place where Saul lay, and Abner the son of Ner, the captain of his host, and Saul laid in the trench, and the people pitched around about it. Then answered David and said, Abimelech the Hittite, and Eshtal the son of Zeruiah, brother of Joab, saying, Will you come down to me and Saul in the camp? And Ishbah said, I will go down with thee. So David and Ishbah came to the people at night, and behold, Saul lay sleeping with the trench, and a spear stuck in the ground on his bolster. But Abner and the people laid round about him. And then Absalom said to David, God has delivered thine enemy to thine hand this day. Now therefore let me smite him, I pray thee, with a spear, even to the earth at once, and I will smite him in the second time. Now if you remember, David already had an opportunity to take out Saul, but instead he cut a piece of his robe off, later showed it to Saul and said, I had an opportunity to take you out, but instead I cut a piece of your robe off, and here it is right here, proving that I mean no harm to you. This is the second time David has an opportunity to take Saul out, and let's see if he does it. So this guy's sitting there, and he's like, Saul's laying right there, I can take him out, and David's basically saying, no, don't do it. And David said to Ashbel, Destroy him not, for who could stretch forth his hand against the Lord's anointed and be guiltless? David said furthermore, As the Lord liveth, the Lord shall smite him, or his days shall come to die, or he shall ascend into battle and perish. David saying, God picked him for some reason to be king. Far be it from us to take him out. Let God do it. God will smite him. He'll die soon. He'll die in battle. But let us not do it to him. And the Lord forbid that I should stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. But I pray thee, take down thou spear that is in the bolster of the cruse of water, and let us go. So David took the spear and the cruse of water from Saul's bolster, and they got him away, and no man saw it, nor knew it, nor neither awakened. They were all asleep, because of a deep sleep from the Lord was fallen upon them. Then David went to the other side, and stood at the top of the hill afar off, at a great space between them. And David cried to the people, to Abner the son of Ner, saying, Answerest thou not, Abner? Then Abner answered and said, Who is thou that criest to the king? And David said to Abner, Art not thou a valiant man? And who is like thee in Israel? Wherefore when thou wilt not keep the Lord the king, for there came to the people to destroy the king by the Lord. And this thing is not good that thou hast done. And the Lord liveth, you are worthy to die, because you have not kept your master, the Lord's anointed. And now see where the king's spear is, and the cruse of water that was at his bolster. He's basically saying, you didn't protect the king like you were supposed to. I have proof. Here's the king's sword, and here's the king's water. It's proof that I was in his room. You didn't protect him. And Saul knew David's voice and said, Is this thy voice, my son David? And David said, It is my voice, O Lord, our king. And he said, Wherefore does thou, Lord, pursue after the servant? For what have I done? What evil is in my hand? He's saying, This is twice now that I could have took you out, and I chose not to. What did I do to you? Now therefore I pray thee, let the Lord the king hear the words of his servant. The Lord has stirred thee up against me, let him accept an offering. But if they be children of men, curse me before the Lord, that they have driven me out this day from abiding in the inheritance of the Lord, saying, Go serve other gods. If you go to Exodus 20, it says, Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. All throughout the Bible it talks about you shouldn't lie. More verses say you shouldn't lie. 1 Samuel 26 and verse 20. Now therefore, let not my blood flow the earth before the face of the Lord, for the king of Israel is come out to seek a flea, and when one doest hunt or partridge in the mountains. This is a little thing I've read. I want to read it to you. The Ziphites again caused trouble for David. So it says 1 Samuel 26, 1 through 4. For several months after the incident in 1 Samuel chapter 24, Saul allowed David to live peacefully in southern Judah. David had remarried, and his men had found work as guards there. It seemed as if Saul has forgotten his anger towards David. Then the inhabitants of Ziph, called Ziphites, who caused trouble for David in 1 Samuel 23, began to cause trouble for him again. Ziph was near Moan, where Nabal had lived. And it's likely, therefore, that the inhabitants of Ziph were relatives of Nabal. Perhaps they were not angry with David about what happened to Nabal, or perhaps they were angry that David had married Abigail, Noah's widow. But these men went to Saul, and they reminded him about his anger towards David. They told him where David was now living, and they urged Saul to come down to kill David. And Saul's usual army had 3,000 men, as Samuel 13:2 and 1 Samuel 24:2 show. These men were the skilled soldiers. They were constantly fighting on Saul's behalf. And Saul's decision to bring this army to the region was a very serious matter for David. David could see that he was unable to remain in Israel. It was too dangerous for David to be there where Saul's attitude could change so quickly. In your last meeting, Saul had been friendly towards David. Now the inhabitants of Ziph had persuaded Saul to become David's enemy again. And David had no desire to fight Saul or his army. Instead, David was thinking about how he and his men could safely leave. James 1 says a double-minded man is unstable in his ways. 1 Corinthians 15 says, Be thankful to our God, who giveth us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Therefore, my beloved brother, be ye steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the words of the Lord. And for as much as we know that your labor is not in vain in the Lord. 1 Peter 5 says, For the God of grace who has called you to this eternal glory of Jesus Christ, after that ye have suffered a while, make your perfect, stable strength and settle you. Isaiah 57 says, To create the fruit of the lips, peace, peace to him that is far off, and to him that is near, saith the Lord, and I will heal him. But the wicked are like the troubled sea, where they cannot rest, whose waters cast up mire and dirt. There is no peace, saith the God, to the wicked. Proverbs 24 says, My son, fear not the Lord and thy king, and meddle not with them that are given unto change. For their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both? See, mood swings are a big thing, and Saul seemed to have a lot of mood swings. Sometimes he was angry at David for absolutely no reason, and sometimes he was very friendly with him. Mood swings are something that is very traumatizing to people. And this here says, doctors explain the 5 reasons you get mood swings and how to avoid them. And hey, what's the difference between a severe mood swing and depression? See, a mood swing is something that just happens in emotion. And depression is a long period of sadness that's regarded as a serious issue. Mood swings and bipolar disorders may appear similar, but they are in fact quite different conditions. 1 Samuel 16, if you remember, it says, But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold, now an evil spirit from God troubleth thee. Let our Lord now command thy servant, which are before thee, to seek out a man whose cunning player on the harp. And it shall come to pass, when the evil spirit from God is upon thee, that he shall play with his hand, and thou shalt be well. And Saul said to his servant, Provide me now a man that I can play well, to bring him to me. Then answered one of his servants and said, Behold, I have seen a son Jesse the Bethlehemite, who is cunning and plain. And he's a mighty valiant man, a man of war, and a prudent in matters, and a comely person that the Lord is with him. And Saul sent to Jesse, saying, Let David, I pray thee, stand before me, for he has found favor in my sight. And it came to pass, when the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, that David took a harp and played with his hand, and Saul was refreshed, and is well, and the evil spirits departed from him. If you go to 1 Samuel 26, it says, Now therefore, let not my blood fall to the earth before the face of the Lord, for the king of Israel is come out like a flea, when one doeth a partridge in the mountains. He's saying, I'm just a little, small little thing, and you're going after me like I'm some big thing. Then said Saul, I have sinned returned, my son for David. For now more of these harm, because my soul was precious in thine eye for the day. Behold, I have played the fool, and I have erred exceedingly. And David answered and said, Behold the king's fear, and let one of the young men come and fetch it. And the Lord rendered to every man his righteousness and his faithfulness, for the Lord delivered thee into my hand today. But I would not stretch forth my hand against the Lord's anointed. He's saying, This is the second time, Saul, I could have took your life, and I chose not to. And behold, his life was much set by this day of mine eyes. So let my life be much set by the eyes of the Lord, and let him deliver me out of the tribulation. Then Saul said to David, Blessed be thou, thy son David. Thou shalt both do great things, and also shalt still prevail. So David went on his way, and Saul returned to his place. Well, guys, that's the video. I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email, or you can just comment below. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Click that bell. I'm going to put a couple links on the screen. The bottom right is going to be the 1 Samuel Bible study. Top left is going to be a Genesis Bible study. And then a bottom left is going to be a video you two thinks you're going to like. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a great day.